Hey G-Fans, gojifan93 here, and welcome to day 25 of the Godzilla-thon. Today we will be taking a look at Godzilla vs. Megagurius. Alright, and right here I have my little Bandai creation figure of Godzilla 2000 because, I don't know, just to change things up. I don't have a Megagurius figure, sadly, so, Anyways, so, also, finally, my mic got the camera working again, so it's all good this time. And also I'm recording this actually on the same day I reviewed Godzilla 2000 because tomorrow will be Mother's Day and I'll probably be busy. I don't know with what. So, yeah, so just thought I'd record it for tonight and put it up for tomorrow. So, yeah, Godzilla vs. Megagurius. Excuse me. Really, you know, after rewatching this movie again, I've been very unfair to this film, actually, in the past. In my past videos, I kind of regarded the film as probably the weakest in the Millennium series, and, you know, it still might be considered the weakest in the Millennium series, but after rewatching it, it's actually a very fun and entertaining movie. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm watching on Blu-ray now, but it's good. It actually is really good. I mean, I still really don't care for Megagurius as the new monster, but I mean, Godzilla looks really good. The special effects are way better compared to Godzilla 2000. It seemed like Toho, you know, remembered that, oh, maybe we should do more practical effects rather than a bunch of CGI stuff everywhere, you know. There still was a lot of CGI in this film, but it was used for things that I guess, you know, CGI was needed for, you know, I guess. But, you know, overall, I really liked this film. After rewatching it, I definitely kind of regret, you know, in the past in my channel saying that this film was kind of the least. I think I put it even on my least favorite Godzilla movies. But now I'm taking that back and saying this film is actually really good. Yeah. So, pretty much, what I really like about this story is that they're trying to, basically, the movie starts out in a flashback way, where they start with, like, 1954, but what I really liked about what they did with this is that they used the Godzilla 2000 suit, and they kind of put him, like, photoshopped this new footage in with the original 1954 footage, so it was really interesting. So they say that he arrived in 1954, they talk about, you know, the origin, whatever. So apparently what they're saying is that this is another reboot. I know a lot of you probably know this, and the Millennium series is infamous for the fact that every single film was another reboot, except for the two Kiryu movies. But what I kind of see is, I can actually kind of see Godzilla 2000 and Megagurius be together. I can see them being back to back. I don't see why Godzilla 2000 can't connect with Godzilla vs. Megagurius. But anyway, so then they say, like, you know, Godzilla's attacking nuclear plants, which makes sense. And it was like 1966, and they had like some flashbacks there. And then there was a flashback in 1996, and it was following the main heroine, I should say. And she is part of this group, and they have to go on. They're kind of like doing an EDF style, where they're running with rocket launchers and they have to shoot at Godzilla. Basically, what happens is that her commanding officer tries to protect her, and he ends up getting killed, and she ends up regretting it and wants revenge on Godzilla. And they kind of, you know, this kind of storyline with the character and someone dies because of their fault or because of Godzilla and they want revenge on him. This seems to happen a lot in the Millennium series. Or not a lot, but it happens more than it should, I guess, because this was the biggest thing in, like, with Kiryu also. There was a storyline, but we'll get to that when we get there. But yeah, and then it goes to present day where, you know, it's like, okay, well, you know, let's try, and this was also in 1996 during that flashback, they said, well, let's try plasma energy. And then they realized, well, what if that brings back Godzilla? But there's a guy, he's actually part of the Godzilla group. I totally, wow, you know, I am terrible at this, but I completely forgot what the group was called. The G. Damn it! I totally forgot. I'll probably put a text in what they were. But he's the guy who organized it and put it together, but he's actually kind of a sleazy guy where he's trying to, he kept a little bit of the plasma technology going, and, you know, he turned off the generators, but the technology was still there, just in case, you know, they were going to bring it back, and he said that it would, you know, bring Japan a lot of money and stuff like that. He just wanted to keep his position, but we find that out at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert. So, yeah, and, then the movie just kind of goes on where they figure out, okay, we got to figure out how to take out Godzilla. So how about we use a black hole? And this is the part of the movie that I think was really interesting, because this is another instance of kind of changing the game with the Godzilla movies. This is another new way to take out Godzilla, and I love it. I love how it's not just another, oh, well, let's just use military weapons and conventional stuff like that. It's like, no, we're gonna use a freaking black hole, and you know, they're gonna shoot it at Godzilla and he's gonna just disappear forever. And what they do is that they do a first testing, and it goes out, and what happens is that there's the thing was about a bug going in the black hole, or it was a wormhole. That's right. So once the black hole disappeared, a wormhole appeared, and apparently a bug got in there. Okay, so basically megagurius happens where all of a sudden, like, this, it starts out as a I believe it's a meganulon. And what's interesting is that I've learned, actually, I didn't know this when I did my first review, and I had a lot of you guys tell me, but these meganulon actually appeared in Rodan. Back in 1950, oh, what was it, man? I don't remember when Rodan's film was, but it was his first film, and Meganulon were in there. And this is Meganulon thing, and there's like this little scene where it's like a horror scene, and it's like these two couples are like going behind the alley or whatever. Like, his girlfriend goes to get like a beer or something, and the guy ends up going behind the alley, and all of a sudden the meganulon just jumps out and eats him. But this is like as gory as this film will get. Like, it like snaps him in half, drags him across the floor, and then the camera angle shoots at his face, and all of a sudden the meganulon just like shoots some like black crap at him. I have no idea what it is, but it like goes right in his mouth and everything. He's like, and then just makes like really gross noise and stuff. And then his girlfriend comes along and she gets killed too, and it's just like, wow, that was brutal. But then it ends up evolving, and then it changes into a meganula, and then there's a bunch of them. There's like a swarm of them. So then what they end up doing is that the meganula decide to go to Godzilla, and they swarm him. And this scene I actually really love. I love how Godzilla had to like use, like, he just had to do so many different things to get these meganula off him. I mean, it was like a swarm that was going on him. They were going on him, they were stabbing him, so that they were taking his energy, or his once again, this is kind of like his enemies get created because of his G cells, or, you know, whatever. So I just love how Godzilla, like, first, you know, he uses his breath to take out a couple, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, Godzilla realizes that that's not all that he can do. So he has to do more. So, like, he starts grabbing them from his chest. He starts chucking them. He starts, like, biting them. Like, one of them was, like, flying towards his mouth, and he just goes, like that. It's just so funny. Then there's a shot of his tail. It's, like, going, like, in circles, and, like, meganula are, like, following his tail. I love that part. And he, like, swings his tail, smacks one in the air, smacks him against the rock. He starts to like hit himself against like rocks and whatever to get them off. And then what I love the most is that he actually used his tail to hit the back of him so that he would get some of the meganula that were on the back of him. I loved it. And then during that scene, they actually try and use the absolute, or not the absolute zero cannon. That's in the next, or the movies after. Whatever the hell it's called, the black hole gun, I'm gonna call it that. They actually decide to use it on that part, but for some reason it misses, and Godzilla is completely fine. He doesn't even get trapped at all. So they're like, well, fuck. And then so the meganula just go back to megagurius, and they give her the energy, and then megagurius is born, and she flies up and goes and takes on Godzilla, and then we have the final battle. And you know, I actually really enjoyed this final battle, rewatching it. Maybe it's because it's the Blu-ray, I don't know. But I just like this battle. It's a really good one, and it's lengthy. It's, you know, somewhat lengthy. Not too long, but not too short, which I really like. And there's just a lot of good scenes with it, a lot of good parts that happen. And like megagurius keeps on tricking Godzilla where she is. There's other parts where she totally like throws Godzilla into this building. megagurius she sees Godzilla, she hunts, she like goes over, sees that Godzilla's like down there, and she does this grin. She literally, like, they CGI'd the character to where she'd like smile, and it's the most cynical thing ever. She's just like and she just hits this yellow object or whatever, and it falls on Godzilla's face, and that hurts him a lot. I bet that really did a number on him. And then she also stabs him because she has like this stinger on the back of it. She has like a tail, but it has a stinger at the end, kind of like a scorpion looking thing. And she totally just stabs Godzilla right in the belly. But what I love is that Godzilla like takes it out, and then he just like puts her in the ground and like sticks her there. I love that. I mean, they do a lot of damage to each other. Like Godzilla then ends up like cutting off one of her claws because I loved it how megagurius was flying down and Godzilla just does this, and then what happens is that his spikes went up like here and it cut her, and I loved how Godzilla did that. Like, Godzilla's really smart in this movie, by the way. The guy who said that Godzilla was dumb in King Kong vs. Godzilla, how he said that he had a brain this size in King Kong, I'm like, no, Godzilla's a smart animal. Yeah, and obviously the biggest what the fuck moment probably ever since 1973 with Godzilla doing the flying kick thing. Godzilla just totally jumps up, just and then megagurius is right here. I wish I had a figure because then I could like demonstrate what happens, but Godzilla just jumps up and body slams her, and it's just like, oh man, just awesome. So yeah, I'm just nerding out. I'm not really doing, this isn't really a review, I'm just basically nerding out on how cool the battle was. But anyways, also the music, the soundtrack is one of the best in the Godzilla soundtrack. It's like it is the second best to Akira Ifukube. I sadly I don't remember the composer's name. I thought it starts with an M, Mishiro something, or you know, I might be wrong on that, but and it's actually a female composer, and it's just like, and she does an amazing job with this soundtrack. The soundtrack is one of the best I've ever heard, and definitely is up there with Akira Ifukube with giving really good scores and stuff. Really fits the movie in tone. So, but overall, I mean, I definitely gave this film a bad rap at the beginning, but now, after rewatching it, it's a really good film. So I highly recommend watching it. Highly recommend getting the Blu-ray double feature with Destroya. And yeah, so it's a really good watch. So that's really all I got for this one. So stay tuned for tomorrow for GMK and or Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monster All-Out Attack. And I'll see you guys till then. Stay big, G fans.